Real Frank.
Hello, welcome to Real Frank Movie Reviews. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the Many Saints of Newark. This is supposed to be the prequel to the Sopranos story. So this is supposed to be the story of how Tony became Tony in the show. Now I was going to review this movie and I was like, there's no better person to be the guest reviewer than the mafioso expert of crime movies than my pal Mike. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, so the Tony Soprano story, we finally find out how he became a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I've been watching The Sopranos since, well, it first debuted on HBO, and I think I've watched the entire series, from start to finish, probably 10 times.
10 times? You've seen the series 10 times?
I used to own all the DVDs when they come out sets. I'd buy the new set, and now I have a DVD player, which is fine. And now it's on HBO, so I watch it, binge watch it. And now I need to watch something. I binge watch The Sopranos. I think I've seen the entire series like 10 times. I love that show. I think it's probably one of the best shows ever put on television.
So that's why I knew you were the perfect one for this movie.
Well, it's so good because it's got the organized crime angle, modern day organized crime angle. It's got it's got his family and then his family, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got the whole psychiatrist angle. There's humor, there's drama, there's crime, there's emotion. It's just got everything wrapped up into one great show. I think it had great writers and it's a phenomenal show.
So with that knowledge of the show and that love for the show, which I couldn't agree more, because at the time that was such groundbreaking TV. I mean, there was nothing on it like it. Yeah. And that kind of brought the evolution of all these great series now you have on those streaming platforms, kind of started this whole thing.
Well, yeah, you had Game of Thrones, and you had Deadwood, and you had all these other ones.
And then Amazon got into it, and Amazon's got a few, Bosch and things like that out there.
Had some stuff, right? And I think this one kind of is
The Wire.
The original. Yeah, it's the original. It's stuff that it's really gritty stuff that isn't going to be on network television. And it's a great storyline. And I think, like I said, that just kind of set the tone for a lot of places. Like, Hulu's got stuff, Amazon's got stuff. Everybody wants to do these gritty platform, these gritty dramas on a different platform other than
the TV,
commercial television.
Yeah,
I think it's great. That's why I love it.
So let's talk about the movie now.
It's outside the box.
With this great series, I don't know about you, but I had high expectations for this movie. Like, I was excited. I was waiting for this thing. They've been talking about it for years. When James Gandolfini was still alive, they were talking about it. There was rumors, and here we are. We finally get it. So, what did you think overall about this prequel?
I was skeptical. I'm glad they did the prequel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want them doing something beyond how the Sopranos died, and I'm not going to say how the Sopranos died. How the Sopranos stopped, because I don't want to say anything in case somebody hasn't seen that yet. I'm glad they didn't go beyond the ending of Sopranos. I'm glad they did the prequel. I thought it was a smart move. I've been waiting for this since I heard about it. And with James Gandolfini passing, I was kind of skeptical how it was going to go. I was ready for a big letdown because it had been talked about and hyped so much.
Uh-huh.
And I was very pleasantly surprised by this movie. I was very happy the way it turned out. I thought it was really good.
I'm so happy to hear you say that because I feel exactly the opposite.
Really?
I hated it.
Oh my God.
I hated this fucking movie. I hated it.
Oh goodness. Oh, we're gonna clash on this one.
We are, because I was so disappointed. I was enraged by watching it. It just, like I said, the show was so phenomenal, and then they put out this piece of horse shit.
No, it wasn't horse shit. It was great.
Here's
I thought it was great drama. You didn't like his son?
no. I mean, what son? I mean, they show him growing up, like when he was a teen.
No, the one that just like James Gandolfini's real son,
No.
Michael Gandolfini.
I hate it. I didn't like him because all he acting wise. Let's just talk physically acting with him. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All he did was this for acting him. He just gave this look. This dumb look all the time. I didn't see real acting. He just had this one look. I mean,
No, I think he had some good acting bits in there.
all right. What was one of the scenes you liked?
I would disagree. For a first timer, for a kid out there who has got to follow in his dad's footsteps, those are big shoes to fill.
Without a doubt.
I thought he did really well. You know what I liked about it is that it wasn't The Sopranos. I didn't want to see The Sopranos the movie. I wanted to see something a little different. You know, they took a little bit of a stutter step because it's not about Tony. I like the way they started it in the graveyard. And the thing I liked about it is they didn't have anybody from The Sopranos show in the movie playing a younger them, an older them, CGI'd up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They had nobody. The only person that was in it was Michael Imperioli. And he talks in the grave, you only hear his voice. You never see his face.
That's my other issue with it too, because
I like that part.
the grave scenes, that was probably my favorite part. I liked how the movie starts off by showing all the graves and they give a little story as they're yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. My issue is why did they choose Christopher as the narrator? He's dead. We all know he's dead. Why didn't they have someone that was still alive narrating the story, like still alive from the standpoint of the show? A character from the show that witnessed it and lived it all with them, and then they got this guy who's dead talking about it, and he's not even born yet when the thing starts.
Correct.
And then my personal opinion,
I knew you were gonna hate that part.
I hate that part. And then
I'm like, this is gonna confuse him. He's not gonna like it.
it's like a few. I honestly believe Mr. Chase had that one line with the one lady. They talk about, oh, this baby, and when Anthony goes to hold it, it cries all the time. And she has the one line about, I think he wanted Christopher to be the narrator so he could throw that line in there with that lady. He wanted to shoehorn that line.
I don't know, maybe possible. I mean, it's an interesting angle. And like I said, I think it was interesting. And you know why I liked it? Because you know why they picked Michael Imperioli, and I'm going to spoiler alert for anybody who's watching, you haven't seen the show yet. Michael Imperioli, his character is killed off by Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher's killed by Tony.
Yeah.
So who better to narrate how Tony is going to turn out to be this evil person down the line than the guy who's close to him that he killed? That was his close, and he treated him in the show. They even say, he treated me like a son, and he did, and he killed him off anyway. And I thought that was just a great angle. Pick somebody that was so close to him that he loved and hated at the same time. That's why I liked it. That's why not Paulie and not somebody else. That's why I liked it.
But Paulie was alive the entire time. I mean, Christopher wasn't even alive when the movie starts. We see when he's born. So how can he narrate? That just, to me, that makes no sense. Like, he could have chose anyone. Like, I don't know. Paulie was still alive, I believe, when the series ended.
Paulie lived. Paulie was alive, and he was the only one. Well,
yeah.
I guess his wife.
Yeah. Why didn't they have it like Paulie narrate it? And I think in real life, the guy who played Paulie was still alive too, I believe, isn't he?
Tony Sirico's still alive.
Yeah. So they could have had him do it.
He could have. I think having Michael Imperioli do it was. I liked it. I liked the choice. I like Michael Imperioli though. I think he's a good actor. I think he's a good director. And I think he's got a great voice for that. But
agree, he's got a great voice, but
what's that?
I say I agree with you. I like his voice and everything, but just for this I didn't understand the choice there.
I really liked it because it was the whole setup. Like, this is the guy. This is how it starts, and then it goes into it. And the other thing I liked about the show or the movie was that it didn't have, like I said, it didn't have any characters from the Sopranos in there reinventing themselves. It didn't have really a lot of big names except for really Ray Liotta, who's good at almost everything. I mean, the actors, you knew who they were. I think one of the guys was in a production of Hamilton. I think the guy that plays Harold, I think he was in Hamilton. The one that plays his mother, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Playing his mother. She's actually the girlfriend in The Departed.
Mm-hmm.
She's Matt Damon and DiCaprio's girlfriend in The Departed. But I thought she did a really good job. And the thing I liked about it is the characters. They didn't dwell really on one character that was a main character in The Sopranos. If you notice, Paulie, his character, and Sil, and all these guys, they're main characters in The Sopranos, but they didn't try and reinvent them in the prequel. They touched on them, and they have a lot of the same mannerisms. The actors did a great job. They had the same mannerisms, but I thought it was really well done because it was just, oh, here's so-and-so, and here's so-and-so, and let's go to the next guy. And they didn't have it. The one disappointment I had is in the show, there's the Jewish loan shark, Hesh. They didn't have anybody play Hesh, and that was disappointing because I liked Hesh's character in the show. And it basically, centers around his role model, his uncle, so to speak.
I'm glad you brought up Paulie and Sal, because that was the acting from those two guys. They were like parodies of the actual people that were in The Sopranos to me. Like Sal, you think you're gonna be a role model for your nephew? I think your nephew wants you to be a role model, and you gotta look out for the way. Yeah, the guy is playing him. I thought it was awful. His acting was awful. It was like a parody. Like I felt like I was watching an SNL sketch, and they were making fun of The Sopranos, and he was playing him. And that's the same thing with Paulie. I just got a new coat. Oh, I was really Dickie. I got him a new coat. It's about this new jacket. It was like they were parodies.
I didn't see that. I didn't get that. I didn't see it that way. I liked it because those mannerisms are always there. They've been there since before the show started in the 60s, and it's not like it just, and I think that's what they have to kind of do because they're not putting these guys in the spotlight like they are in the show.
Yes.
So you kind of have to do that to recognize who is who. The one part I had about that is Sil and Paulie, or Sil and Pussy Bump and Sarah from the show. Okay, can I say that on your show?
Yeah.
And
we're unfiltered these movie reviews.
The assumption that Tony and Sil and Pussy Bump and Sarah all came up together at the same age. And in the movie, Silvio is much older than Tony.
Mm-hmm.
He's already in the outfit. He's already got a hairpiece going for him.
Yeah.
Come off.
Yeah.
And in the show, they talk about how they came up together. Now, I guess they could have all come up together and been different ages, but I think they kind of, in the show, I think it was implied they kind of came up together, like, not necessarily through school, but they're in the same neighborhood, same general age group. But I thought there was some good stuff that they referred to that, some people didn't pick up on the show, like he was outside playing with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, there's an episode in The Sopranos where he gets upset because he had a dog he used to play with and his father gave it away to his mistress. There's things like that I kind of picked up. His mother getting upset about the medication, and Tony kind of singing to her, that little Rolling Stones bit.
Yeah. And
she would get really upset and flip out, and that was very common. That was very common of her in the show. And the one thing I liked is, it concentrated on his so like I said, his uncle's role model. Not his dad. His dad was gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you kind of see that in the character, how he develops is, God, my dad's gone. All I have is this guy. This guy gets, in trouble. He's into the mob and all these other things.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a whole lot to go on.
And he's talking to me like a dad, and he's giving me advice like a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of see this is how, Tony, honestly, in the show, Tony cares for his mother, but then he gets upset with her. And even when she dies, he still loves her and hates her at the same time.
Because she's crazy.
You can kind of see where that comes from in the show. Well, you can kind of see where it comes from in the movie, where he really cares for his mother, wants her to get better, and she refuses it, and it's very frustrating. It's like gridlock. It's like mental gridlock for him. Because he loves her and knows that she has issues, and know those issues are at home, and it just carries over into the show down the road.
Yeah, and then the pace
You
of this
know,
movie was just way too slow for me. I mean, it for me personally, it just
I knew the pace was gonna hurt you. I knew the pace was gonna hurt you.
It
Like
was
the
killing me.
faster pace stuff.
Well, I mean,
I thought the drama was good.
the standard for me is Goodfellas. To me, that is the masterpiece gangster movie. The pace, the action, the acting. To me, that is like the.
Well, it's also go.
No, that's go ahead. Go ahead.
It's, well, I agree. I mean, you know, I walked through a blizzard to rent Goodfellas. Um, but I don't know if you can compare the two because Goodfellas is based on real life. If you ever read the book Wise Guy, it's really good. The Sopranos is based on more of fictional. But I agree. I don't know if it's fair to that's what I was going to say too. You can't compare the Many Saints of Newark, which is based on a television show,
Right.
to Goodfellas or Casino or God forbid The Godfather. That should never ever be done. Nothing should ever be compared to The Godfather. But I mean, it's hard to compare these to other mob movies. I think I compared it to the show. I didn't want to put it up against Goodfellas and A Bronx Tale or Casino and some of these other ones where you have obviously very, not that these guys aren't, but I mean, how are you going to compare De Niro and Pesci to Michael Gandolfini? That's just not fair.
It's not fair, but
Those are
that's
kinda unfair.
that's what my standard though. And then this is in that genre, so
Yeah.
I'm always taking that and comparing it to. And to me, it was too slow. And then the acting versus this movie versus the show. The show's acting was fantastic, phenomenal. Like, it was
Yes.
great.
Yes.
This was just, I felt like The Sopranos was all A-list actors, like very, very good actors and actresses. And here was just like the B squad. Like I was watching a Clint Eastwood movie here or something with all the B squad actors, supporting cast.
I think it kind of had to be a B squad to make it more. I don't know. I don't want to say to make it better, but I don't know who would you get like a big actor. I mean, the big actor was Ray Liotta from Goodfellas.
Not necessarily get the
I don't know
big
who you get
actors, just
acting wise. I think that takes away, but I think sometimes too many good actors can take away from it.
and then the other part.
It's rare, but it happens. Yeah.
You remember the scene too where not when he's a teenager yet. He's still a kid. He gets off the school bus, him and his friend, and they're outside the store and they're smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, that's his friend Artie from the restaurant.
Okay, that's already. The cigarettes
Yeah.
were so fake, and it took me right out of that scene. They looked so fake to me. The two cigarettes they took a puff out of.
I thought they were bubble cigarettes. I'll agree with that one.
That looks so fake to me. It was so bad. I don't know what they were.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I'm saying I like the movie. But yeah, there's a couple scenes that were a little insane. I like I don't want to give away parts of the movie. I'm afraid to give away parts of the movie, but at the same time, I really like this part, and maybe a little bit of a nod to Casino on this one, where they had the guy in the garage.
Yeah.
With the air wrench.
Yes.
That reminded me a lot of Casino, and that scene in Casino with Pesci.
Right.
And I think there was a scene, I think it was at a funeral home, and Anthony was younger, not teenage, but younger Anthony's looking through the doors and everybody's kind of gathered together. That reminded me of a scene, like that final scene in The Godfather, where Kay is looking through the door at Michael trying to figure out what's going on in there. So there's a little bit of, I got some of that in there too.
Let's talk about that one scene you're talking about with the little drill part thing, the air wrench thing.
Can I talk about that? I don't want to give away
Well,
anything, so.
I just wanted to, we could generalize it. Like,
Okay.
that scene in general, like, you talked about, like, Casino, and those scenes seem so natural to me. Like, you know what I mean?
But,
This one
yes.
seemed very staged. I don't know, like, it didn't
God,
seem...
you hate this movie.
I do, man. It seemed awkward. It didn't seem right. It just seemed like, hey, we got to have one of these scenes in here. Let's put it in here, and we'll have them do this, and then this, and then this. That's what I felt like with that scene.
I don't know. I kind of went with it. I thought it flowed okay. I think they needed to find somebody that they needed. They couldn't find him, and this is the way they did it. And I thought it was a creative way to get information. I know I'd be talking.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much talking you could after that. I mean, that'd be pretty painful.
You're talking about show based on television as
Yes.
opposed to, you know, movies that are based on real happenings.
The other issue I have,
Sometimes real life is scarier.
yeah, there's a couple other issues I have too. Like, I love like music in movies, like the background of, you know, like
Yeah, I agree.
the background music of movies, and then they throw some hits in there. I'm all about that. But this one,
Yeah, the music of the Soprano show was really good.
yeah, but this
I
movie,
liked a lot of music of the Sopranos.
the music was annoying to me. Like, it went from, he'd go out of his car and there'd be some song playing, then he goes into another place in the same scene and there's another song playing, and then he opens the door, another song's playing. It's like they were forcing all these. It wasn't background music like made for the movie, like a movie soundtrack. These were like, you know, songs from that era, and there was like a bunch of them they were playing throughout the movie instead of having like a soundtrack of a music background.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't pick up on that, and I usually do with music. You know, in the Sopranos show, they had a lot of good, I think, songs and music in that show that were just incorporated very well. And I agree with you there, especially like in the credits at the end, you know, and things like that, or at the end scene, or if there's, you know, something going on, it kind of reminds you. You know, there's still music in movies that if I hear a certain song, I'll you know, think about that scene.
Exactly.
Like in Reservoir Dogs, they're playing "Stuck in the Middle with You" by Steelers Wheels. Every time I hear the song on the radio, I'm thinking about Michael Madsen dancing around in that warehouse.
Right, with that ear.
I agree. I did pull. What's that?
With that ear.
With the straight ribs. Yeah. But you're right. There's still that I will agree with. I didn't get the music out of the show. I'm sorry, out of the movie. And you know, I never thought about that till you said it. I didn't, because I can't think of really one song in the movie. Because
it just felt like they just were horseshoeing all these songs from that generation, one after, but they didn't really have like a soundtrack of, like, you know, you got some of those make big songs from artists, and then you got the composer of the movie with their own little track that they made for the background music.
Right, like the score, right?
Yeah. It wasn't really that much.
You know, the music in the movie didn't jump out so much at me. I mean, I knew some of the songs, and yeah, to me, it blended in as white noise into the film. But I never thought about that until you brought that up.
And then my other big issue is the scene with a certain female being the drowning scene. The drowning scene.
You didn't like the drowning scene?
I didn't like the drowning scene, the way it was shot, the way it was filmed, because you see the person, there's a character that gets drowned, all right? I'll just leave you with that. And the way they shot it, the person goes under, and that's all you see. Like, you know, with the drowning... It wasn't like a...
It wasn't really detailed.
No, exactly. So almost at certain spots, they show like the person's outfit or like a jacket or something, but you can't really tell if it's a person or not, or just something they're holding under. It looked very fake to me. It didn't look right. And then all of a sudden, the next shot is the body floating, the ocean taking the body out. And it's like, what happened there? I mean, was it an editing issue, or is this the way they shot it or something?
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. But David Chase, the guy that did The Sopranos, they're not real big on when they show women getting killed. And he wasn't in the show when Christopher's fiance gets killed. Mm-hmm. If you notice in the show, a lot of people, especially if they're main characters and they get killed, they show it. You know, if they're shot or whatever. When it came to Christopher's fiance, who was an FBI informant, do you remember this episode?
Yep.
In the movie? Okay, in the show?
Her car's still at the airport.
Her car wasn't at the airport, so Still was driving her to see Christopher at the hospital, and he pulls off the side of the road in that parking ride area, that park, whatever, and pulls her out of the car, and she's crawling for her life off into the woods, and Still comes up behind her with his gun, and all you hear is the shots. You never see the murder scene. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that has something to do with David Chase's preferences about killing women on film, about how it turns out audiences, or what. But that wasn't done either. You didn't see that on the show. The thing I liked about the scene that you're talking about in the ocean is, one, I think Christopher mimics his father. because you can see his violent tendencies and you can see how he reacts, and then he kills off his mistress, and and then in the show, obviously, Christopher's fiance gets killed off, and I don't want to say a similar fashion, but in a very violent way in an active range.
Okay.
But I think what you're talking about is more of a reflection or a preference of the director, not necessarily bad camera footage.
I just didn't think it was well done, filmed well, or
Okay.
it looked fake. That's the best way I could describe it. It just looked fake to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of that, like I said, I think some of that kind of had to do with preferences of shooting it.
All right.
That's my guess. I don't know. I'm not David Chase.
No.
I didn't make
That's
the
why. That's why we do this show, because we talk about maybe different perceptions, different opinions. That's why I love this show.
That's one of the reasons they didn't do it. Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
That's why they happened.
So let's start.
But, the movie wasn't about per se Tony Soprano. It was about his uncle Ricky Maltasante and his impact and the way the lifestyle impacted Tony Soprano. You didn't like the ending, did you?
At this point, I just wait for it to get over with. At this point, I didn't care about the ending.
Okay. I kind of like the ending too.
And my favorite part of the ending is when they kick in the theme song from the series, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Oh, at the very end? Yeah. I liked it with the ring, the pinky swear, and the ring, because it's the same ring Tony wears in real life on the show.
Right.
I like that. I got these little things in there. I like those little tidbits of things. Like I notice and I pick up.
As they should, right? Because this is a prequel, and they should be little ties in. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you've watched the show, you'll go, oh, I remember this, or I remember that part. I remember this part. I mean, some of the flashbacks even Tony has in the show, they played out pretty well in the movie. They even used some of them, when he goes to the carnival and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was a shocker, though. I was very surprised at the end. I was very surprised by the action at the end and who did it.
Oh, you were surprised by that?
I was, because in the show they say it was something else. It was a contract. Thing. And this was, but in the show they never let on who it really is. Yeah. This really surprised me. Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I wasn't looking for it.
I guess it was shocking, but it's comical. The reason why,
Well, I don't think it's necessarily comical. I think he's like that in the show too. He doesn't like getting made fun of.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think it's comical. Like,
and it doesn't matter. He's going to take somebody out. It doesn't matter no matter what.
It's comical.
Everybody underestimates him, but in reality, he's a very dangerous person.
Yeah, he's just everyone thinks he's a clown. He acts like a clown sometimes, and then he's perceived as one, and then he gets pissed, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, and I didn't see that coming. I think sometimes maybe I watched the show too much, and so if the show too many times, maybe that weighs and obviously sways my opinions on some of those things too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like this.
All right. I can't hear that.
It's alright. I was doing some gunshots.
Oh. Okay.
And a fire. All right, so let's rate this. Overall, what do you give the story?
What do I give the story?
Mm-hmm.
The story I would probably give. I would probably give it a 7.5.
All right.
I would, but again, I'm gonna modify my scale because I'm gonna compare it to the episodes. To me, it was one long episode of Sopranos.
Okay.
It wasn't a movie like Goodfellas and The Godfather and Casino. And that's the way I went and looking at it. I didn't look at it like it was going to blow my socks off. Like, like you said, Goodfellas is here, is that standard. I don't know if that can ever be beaten.
No, it's tough.
Maybe The Godfather, but at different levels. But it's tough. But to me, I looked at this as a long episode, a 2-hour episode of The Sopranos. And that's the way I viewed it.
Okay.
So I think that modifies it. So I would give it a 7.5 in storyline compared to other episodes of The Sopranos.
I would give it a 2.9. If this was a Sopranos episode,
okay.
I would think this is the worst Sopranos episode ever.
Okay.
Acting.
I'm gonna call David Chase and tell him how you feel.
I got a few words for David Chase. I got a few words for him. More gunshots for David Chase.
More gunshots, all right.
Acting. How do you score the acting?
else you got?
What do you give the acting? Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep, you froze for a second.
All right.
I'm here.
Acting. What do you give acting?
So acting, I agree. I'd probably go with like a 6. Silvio's character annoyed me a little bit. It was almost a little extreme. The other ones didn't bother me so much. That one bothered me. I'll be honest. The other ones I thought were good.
Okay.
I mean, Ray Liotta did a great job.
He was the best actor in
it.
it.
6 on that one.
I gave it 2.6 for the.
that?
I give 2.6 on the acting.
Okay.
Ray was the best actor in the whole movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he was.
Cinematography. I mean, what was your opinion on cinema? The way they filmed it, the way the camera angles, the background scenes. How did you think it was filmed, like rating wise?
The background scenes when they did 60s and 70s, Jersey, I thought they did very well. I think everything looked very authentic in the background. The cars, the buildings, the scenery. But the way they shot it, like I said, I think the way they shot it could have been a little bit better. I'd go 5.
5. All right. I give it
some things I thought didn't look realistic.
Yeah, I give it a 4.1. Like you said, there was some.
Wow, that's the closest we've been so far.
4.1. Yeah. I like there was the scenes towards the end in the snow. I like the way that they shot the snow coming down in the wintertime, the snow.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
fires from the riots, I thought that was cool. The smoke and stuff, that was neat.
That was good. Yeah. Yep.
And then the CGI. I don't really recall too much CGI except the one scene where they're burning the body. That one body's getting burned. That CGI.
Yes.
That
almost gave that away, but that I didn't care for that.
Yeah.
I thought that to me that's not going to stand the test of time.
No, it looked awful.
You look at like the smoke and the riots off in the distance, that burning.
Yeah, it looked awful.
I thought that was a lot better than the burning of the body.
Yeah, it looked fake burning the body. The way they like the fire, it just didn't look natural.
I didn't like that.
So what do you give the CGI?
Yeah, I thought what's that CGI? That's probably like a 3 or a 4.
I agree. It's like a 3.
We'll split the difference. Go 3.5 on that one.
Right,
I didn't care for that. I thought the way they did the background and the streets I thought was good, but not the CGI stuff.
Yeah. All right. So overall,
yeah, it's good. You gotta spend the CGI.
You're right. Overall.
What's that?
Overall, what do you give this movie?
I'd give it a 6.
A 6.
I'd give it a 6.
All right. Overall.
If I'm comparing it to the Sopranos movie, Sopranos show, I'd probably give it 6.5.
All right.
Maybe a 7. It wasn't the best Sopranos episode ever. I don't think it was necessarily the worst. But like I said, I don't think it's fair to compare it to Goodfellas.
All right. I give this movie overall a 2.4, and this is what I think of it. It's a toilet flushing.
Oh, I heard that.
This is what I think of this movie.
Would you watch it again?
When I watch it again, I would rather masturbate with a cheese grater than watch this thing again.
I just wanted to hear what your reaction was going to be, because I knew it was going to be something pretty classic.
It was awful.
Would you watch the Blizzard to rent this from a video store, if they had a video store?
I would hope I would die in the blizzard if I had to go to the video store to watch this, to rent this.
Yes. It's not a Goodfellas. It's not a casino. To me, it's a long episode. I'll be fair. It wasn't the best thing it wasn't the best mobster movie or gangster movie, whatever you want to call it, organized crime movie in the world. I didn't expect it to. I expected it to be a long episode of The Sopranos, and that's what you got. I think you got a long television show.
The other part of this, I think what would have helped it is if they waited too long to do this. Like, too many years have gone by.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yes.
And I think that fucked it all up.
It's been 14 years since The Sopranos been over.
Exactly. So if they would have done it like maybe 4 or 5 years tops, you know what I mean? More people would have been fired up. It could have been a better quality product too, because so close to the story. I don't know. I just think so much time had gone by before they got their shit together to do this thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. This should have been done a long time ago. It's been 14 years since The Sopranos ended. In that fateful diner.
Yeah.
but it was a great show. And like I said, I think if they waited 4 or 5 years and done it, I think it would have had a much bigger impact.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what you were talking about with the Michael Imperioli narrating, who would have been good was Tony's daughter Meadow.
Oh yeah, right.
She'd have been great. I think I can't remember the actress who plays her.
Yeah, because it could.
Sigler?
Yeah, it could have been like from her perspective.
She'd been really good. She'd
be like her perspective of the story she heard.
Is.
Yeah, from the story she heard growing up or something like that, instead of someone who was dead.
Yeah, I think that would have been good too. I mean, I like Michael Imperioli, but I don't know. Maybe they got Michael Imperioli because everybody else said no. It'd been too long for the same reason you just said.
Because Michael Imperioli,
very possible.
Christopher died in a car crash.
In the car crash. Yes.
I have to get my sounds in.
I know you do.
All right.
But no, I thought, like I said, to me it was going to be a long. I don't know if I'd have gone to the theater to see this. If I'd have gone to the theater and paid money to see this, I would have been disappointed. But to me, it was a long. It was a 2-hour episode of The Sopranos. That's what I went in thinking. I didn't think this was going to be a blockbuster. The new Goodfellas.
Got it.
So I think you have to go in with reasonable expectations. I think you're being unreasonable.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What's your show? You can do what you want to do.
I think it was a shit show. I think David Chase fucking blew it. He blew it.
Well, I heard David Chase is upset that's on HBO streaming free.
Well, that's all it's worth, in my fucking opinion. If I would have went to the movie theater seen this, I would have been burning the movie theater down. I'd be like, what the fuck? I spent money on this shit. It'd been awful.
I heard he's upset because they're streaming it free on HBO for a month before, and and people people have to pay for it, but he's got to. I really don't care because he's making bank on it, so it doesn't really matter.
He's getting his money, and that's all it's worth as a streaming movie. At least HBO was smart enough, or whoever production company put it out there that was smart. So overall,
I think so too. I think it's a streaming movie.
It is a streaming movie. So overall, Mike gives it a 6. I give it a 2.4. That's our review.
I give it a cautious 6.
He gives it cautious. It's cautious. It's garbage. 2.4 for the Many Saints of Newark. That's our review.
Give me a 3. Give me a 3 out of it.
He's not getting a 3. That's our review. Thanks for watching.